Bulls Nation, today we continue the talking of the players on this roster and what their potential future will be. And this player is another free agent, upcoming free agent that the Chicago Bulls may consider bringing back onto this team. He recently signed to this team last season, came into the team, did very well for the Chicago Bulls, and overall, will he be back next season? If you don't know who I'm talking about, the player I'm discussing today is Garret Temple. Very interesting player, someone that may or may not be a Bull next season. But without further ado, let's talk more about him in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls related video, and this one is leaning towards Garret Temple, the Chicago Bulls man, signed to our team 1 year ago, and in the end has been a very solid contributor to this team, and has shown that veteran leadership is very important in this league, and we're going to be discussing his potential future and whether or not it's worth it for the Chicago Bulls to bring back Garret Temple onto this team. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about Garret Temple. What do you think he would bring to a team like the Chicago Bulls with a whole new roster coming in next season most likely? And overall, do you think it's worth keeping a player like Garret Temple on this team? The first thing that I really need to say about Garret Temple is that he was a very important player for the Chicago Bulls in this season. In the end, we were signing Garret Temple, and a bunch of other people were probably having a little bit of a mixed opinion on Garret Temple, what he would bring to the Chicago Bulls, and why this was a pretty weird signing. But I said during that time, this was probably a signing that was needed for the Chicago Bulls. In the end, at the time, we were a very young, inexperienced team. And how do we end up getting better as a team without veteran leadership to guide us through the NBA seasons? And we didn't have too many good veteran leaders in the Chicago Bulls. And that is still probably an argument you could say until now. But without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, Garret Temple brought a lot of veteran leadership into this team, and I think he's taught a lot to these players. And it's been said all around the league, even players like Bradley Beal, who's one of the best shooting guards in the NBA, has said it. Garret Temple is one of the best teammates you could possibly have on your team. And I think without a shadow of a doubt, he's brought that mental capacity, he's brought that hard work ethic, and he's brought his insight, intellect, and of course his spirit into this team. And I thought that was very important for us. And in the end, those stats might not be the best stats. He's definitely not a star player on the team, but he's very important to the team. He's the glue guy. He's the guy that can keep things together, and he's the guy that can help guide this young team into the future of our, hopefully, unlimited potential. And that's something that we need to really value when it comes to Garret Temple. In terms of his season averages this year, he's averaging 7.6 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 2.2 assists per game, shooting 41% from the field and shooting 33% from the three-point line. Now, this is actually Garret Temple's one of his better seasons in terms of the statistics in the NBA. Obviously, statistics in my eyes for a lot of players, they mean something, but sometimes it means little to nothing. With Garret Temple, it's a mix between the two. Of course, for a player that is seen as a shooter, a player that likes to shoot the ball, especially from the corners, and a player that brings a lot of effort, having one of his better seasons on this team is very good to see. But with Garret Temple, he brings a lot to the Chicago Bulls in terms of, as I've mentioned before, his work ethic, and most importantly, his presence on the defensive end. He was always willing to guard players in the NBA. He was always willing to guard good players, whether they were the best of the best or whether they were upcoming players, regardless of the fact Garret Temple, a lot of the time, had responsibility on some of the better players in the league. And of course, having that ability to shoot the ball, having that ability to find the open man, having that ability to be on the fast break as often as he was for a veteran player that's 10 years in the NBA, when he doesn't necessarily need to be the guy running out for the fast break, hustling all the time, he's still that guy that does that. That's very good to see. And again, it just shows that the mentality and the mindset that you should have as a veteran player and as a young player, this is the mindset that you should be going. Always work hard, always run out, don't leave anything to chance, and make sure that you earn your opportunities, and hard work will give you your opportunities. And Garret Temple has brought that to this team. He is the team leader in my eyes. I know we have Zach LaVine, who's a very good NBA player, all-star level player, Nikola Vucevic, all-star level player. In my eyes, Garret Temple was a vocal leader in this team. He was the leader of this team, and that is something that we've been missing for quite some time. So there's valuable things that you could talk about when it comes to Garret Temple. But overall, next season, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Next season, he might not be on the Chicago Bulls. So the question that should be asked, is Garret Temple worthy of a contract returning to the Chicago Bulls? And do the Chicago Bulls see Garret Temple as someone they can bring back next season and make an impact similar to this previous season? And the first thing I need to say when it comes to Garret Temple is, I think the Chicago Bulls, I think Garret Temple wants to return to the Chicago Bulls. There have been rumors going around about Garret Temple wanting to return to the Chicago Bulls. And in the end, you've seen throughout the course of his NBA career, whether it's his own choice, whether it's the team trading him, he's played for a lot of teams in the NBA. He's more of that journeyman type of player. He comes to a team for a short period of time. He impacts the team. He works hard for the team. He gets the team a little bit better than where they were before. And then he goes to his next adventure, his next journey. So I never thought Garret Temple would come into this team for the long term and become a long-term player. I've never thought that when he signed, and I don't think that now. So there's a good chance that Garret Temple may not be on this team next season. That's a reality that we may have to face when it comes to, once again, who's going to be the leader on this team? Who's going to be the one that speaks out? Who's going to be the one that will talk to these players, help these players learn? And who's going to be the one that's able to do that? And we need more of those players on this team, regardless of their age or what their experience level is. We need someone that is going to be a vocal leader on this team. We didn't have enough of them with Jim Boylan. We didn't have enough of them ever since Jimmy Butler left, pretty much. And now we're starting to get that back for the Chicago Bulls. So if Garret Temple's not going to be on this team next season, we need to find someone that is able to have that ability to be a vocal leader on this team and to become a very well-respected presence in the team. And that's something that Garret Temple definitely is. But he wants to return to the Chicago Bulls. And the reality is, it's pretty much in the Chicago Bulls' court at the moment, or whether or not you want to bring Garret Temple in. Another positive thing about Garret Temple is he's potentially a cheap option if you want to consider re-signing him. It's as simple as that. Last season he came in for around $4 million. Again, many people actually thought that was too much, but in the end, that's little to nothing for what the Chicago Bulls could give to other players. Garret Temple will be a cheap signing, in my opinion, to bring into the Chicago Bulls. And his impact on the floor has been very important for us. When we've seen that a lot with Garret Temple. Of course, there's going to be games where he has bad games. There's going to be games where he has standout games. But the reality is, Garret Temple overall has been a very important, influential player on this team. And that is something that, again, I think shows his worth in terms of the NBA and the worth of the contract that we gave him for that 1 year. So I think the Chicago Bulls should strongly consider bringing Garret Temple back for the Chicago Bulls. I don't think it's an indication of we're going to fail without him, but I definitely think it makes things easier if he's on the team. And we've seen him impact good teams in the NBA before, and it's happened. And unfortunately for those teams, I don't know how many championships Garret Temple's won. I don't think he's won any, but the reality is Garret Temple's a good NBA player. He's a good, solid role player. He's a good bench player, but all of those things he makes up for in great leadership qualities. And that is something that we can't turn our heads away from. In the end, Garret Temple's not going to be the answer for our championship team, but he's going to be the answer in making this team develop to take the next step, in my opinion, vocally, leadership-wise. And of course, actions speak louder than words. And I've always said he's the most hard-working player on the court. So the fact of the matter is, I don't want to get rid of Garret Temple this season. In the end, I understand the type of player Garret Temple is. He's been like this throughout the whole of his career. So in the end, we may not see Garret Temple specifically play for the Chicago Bulls next season. In the end, I think he wants to be here, but again, it needs to be mutual. And I don't know what the Chicago Bulls status is in terms of Garret Temple. But if you're asking me now, I would bring Garret Temple back. He's a cheap option. He's going to be on a 1-year deal, which means that it's an expiring contract. And the reality is, he was very important towards this team this year, and I think he deserves another chance to show he'll be an important part of this team next year. And that's gonna be big in my opinion. Billy Donovan likes him. You could tell by the way that he played him so often that he likes Garret Temple. He was the starter when player got injured. In the end, there's a lot of assets to bringing Garret Temple into this team. There's a lot of positives in keeping Garret Temple on this team. And that's something I want to see continue going forward. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, Garret Temple is not the 28-point per game scorer that Zach LaVine is. There's going to be mixed opinions on Garret Temple, like there is with every player on this team for the majority. But I think most people will probably be in agreement that Garret Temple is someone that we should at least be positive about when it comes to last season. He might not be here next season, and many people will have their split opinions on that. But I think many people respect what he did last year, and that's why many people will have the idea of bringing back Garret Temple won't be a bad one for many people. That's really all I have to say on the situation. I'm going to end the video here, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, we're going to be continuing to talk about a lot of the Bulls players. We've talked about a lot of them already, but it still feels like we still have a long way to go. And the fact of the matter is, it's because we have a long way to go. A lot of these players will be discussed. Every one of these players will be discussed, whether they're role players, whether they're the top tier. We will get to all of them eventually, and we're moving our way along, and Garret Temple was the next player to talk about. We have a long way to go. Next video will be another free agency discussion, so hopefully look forward to that as well. Take care and peace.